Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this video. All right, so I want to give you guys a quick fix if you guys have this problem. Now, if you guys have this problem, you'll probably think that this is like a huge fix. All right, but let me just give you a little bit background on this issue. This is a no crack, no spark start, and there's no power. There's no power at all. So basically, my car has been working fine for a while now. The only issue I had was maybe 7 months ago. I had an issue with my battery where my battery died out. But to be honest with you, I had actually left my lights on. My battery was about 3 years old and it died out, and I actually did have to get another battery, but that was like way back, like 8 months ago or something like that. Anyway, this situation right here is a little bit different because I was driving all day. I stopped at McDonald's, got something to eat at McDonald's. It's expensive. If you guys don't know about, if you guys haven't been to McDonald's lately, it's expensive. But anyway, I was there for about 30 minutes. I came back out and noticed that my alarm and my unlock button didn't work on my fob key. So I'm like, hey, what's the problem here? Because to be honest with you, I did change out the battery on that fob key. So I was very surprised at that situation. So I was like, all right, so got the key out and opened the door. Didn't hear any kind of chimes or anything like that, because that's what you normally hear, is chimes and stuff like that. So basically I was like, okay, kind of like a bad situation, because I changed out the fob key battery and got in and tried to start it, and nothing. Try to start a couple of times and nothing in the dash, no chimes, no AC wasn't working. It was a hot day. The lights, nothing worked. And I was thinking to myself, you know what, this situation, let me see. I was driving all day. I was only there for 30 minutes. I know I didn't leave my lights on. Even if I did, that battery should have held enough of a charge for me to turn my car on, definitely. So I was looking at the dash, just trying to see if there's any kind of lights on the dash, because normally in this situation you might get a security light or some kind of light on the dash, but nothing. There was nothing on the dash whatsoever. So I was thinking to myself, all right, let me check the battery. So I went to the battery, I checked the battery, checked the terminals and everything. I mean, the terminals were a little bit loose. They were a little bit loose. There was some corrosion on there. So basically I went back into McDonald's and I got some Coke and some paper towel. And what I did was I poured some Coke on the battery terminals, got a paper towel and wiped it up. All right, if you guys didn't know, baking soda would probably work a lot better because of the oxidation. The fizzling actually breaks down the corrosion. So this is what I did. I did that and I popped it back on, checked the line to see whether the cables are tight and solid on the on the rings. Put it back on the terminal, and still nothing. I didn't hear anything at all. I had the door open. Normally once there's any kind of electricity going in the car, you could hear something. Didn't hear anything at all. So I was like, okay, all right, what could it be in this situation? So I had a situation before with a Chevy, a couple of Chevy vehicles where there was no power, and it turned out to be the ground wire that was frayed off. I had the one instance was a crank no start, and then it was the ground wire, it wasn't making enough contact. So I was looking at the ground wire, just checking out to see whether it's tight, whether seated right, and there's no corrosion where it connects to the frame of the vehicle. Looked at it and I was like, you know what, it looks good. So at that point I was thinking, okay, there's something else. So I was looking at it's gotta be a fuse, right? It's gotta be a fuse. So I was looking at the fuse box. I had a situation where to be honest with you, before that I was like, all right, let me see if it'll crank up with a jump. All right, before I get to that situation with the fuse. And you guys want to hear this because it's a real quick fix, but I'm going to give you guys a background of what I did just in case this isn't your issue. But there's a couple of things that could be causing something like this with no power. The ground cable, for one, the ground cable is detached and there's no contact. But anyway, I grabbed a power pack, a juice pack, and popped it on and tried to start a couple of times, and no go at all. At that point, that's when I knew that it probably wasn't battery. It wasn't the battery, because the battery was like 8 months old, a year old at most. So I knew it wasn't the battery at that point. So I was looking at the fuse and the relays, the fuse and relays, just trying to see whether the fuses were burnt or had any kind of smell to them, burnt smell, so that I can know, so that I can see that it's so I would know that it's blown. So I looked at the fuses and couldn't make out any of the fuses that were blown. Now, I had a situation like this once with an Acura, and that Acura had a problem with, I believe the blown fuse was the ECU fuse, and or maybe it was the I think it may have been maybe the fuel pump. I'm not quite sure. One of those two fuses. But one of those two fuses had blown, in which is crank, and it wouldn't start. It would crank and wouldn't start. So I know this isn't that situation, because there's no lights on the dash whatsoever. There's nothing. It's like if you had taken the battery off the car, no connection to a battery. It's just completely dead. So that's not that situation. Now, I also did have a similar situation with a Honda Odyssey. And that Honda Odyssey was like this, had absolutely no power whatsoever. Now, if you guys don't know anything about Hondas, I know we're not talking about Honda. If you guys don't know anything about Hondas, all right, there's a main fuse. There's a main fuse on the fuse box, and that main fuse actually connects the battery to the fuse box itself. Now, seeing as how the situation is essentially the same with the battery, I know whether the battery is good, you can't jump it, and there's no power within the car itself. I was thinking to myself, looking for that main fuse, didn't see a main fuse, but then I looked at the battery itself, and I believe the positive terminal had a fuse connected to it. It was a battery fuse. Now, if you guys don't know about battery fuses, Nissan calls it a fusible link. Some cars call it a battery fuse. But if you guys look at the terminal itself, it has like a little window. That little window will show you whether that fuse is connected or not. And normally in this situation, what happens is you see like some brownish coloration in the window, meaning that it was burnt. And if you look, if you pop that window off, or sometimes you might be able to look at that window and see that the fuse is blown. But I popped the window off and noticed that the fuse was blown. And here's what I did. I actually took a screwdriver and I stuck it in the window, and I turned it where it met the fuse. There was enough of there where it met the fuse and made contact with both ends of the fuse, and I started hearing noises and everything. Now, if you guys are in this situation and you guys want, like, if you guys have no other way of getting that terminal, that fusible link dash battery fuse, you guys could actually try to rig it where you guys have anything metal, you connect those 2 points of the fuse that's blown, you guys can start your car and get to wherever you're going. It's a short-term fix. Now, there was an AutoZone close by. I took a Uber to an AutoZone, picked up the part, changed it up, popped it on the battery. As soon as I popped it on the battery, I heard lots of noises coming on inside my car, and went in, started, and it started up right away. So at that point, I knew that it was the battery fuse that was the problem. Solved my issue. Didn't need a tow. Didn't need any kind of diagnosis. Didn't need save. If you guys find it, if this is your fix to your situation, just know that this will help you guys out as far as all the other things that you might possibly think would be very, very expensive to fix, to diagnose. And you guys know how expensive car fixes are. It's very, very expensive, and hopefully this helps you out with your situation and it gets you to where you need to go. And if you guys have your own personal experiences with these kinds of no start, definitely leave a comment in the comment section. Please subscribe, please give me a thumbs up, all that good stuff. Appreciate your time. All right, guys, take care.